Creating the National Museum of African American History and Culture as part of the Smithsonian is probably not probably, it is the most difficult thing I've ever taken on in my career. Part of what I thought about was, how do I take a story that is unbelievably complex, how do I make it accessible? And it was clear to me that the best way to do that was through photography. I am Lonnie Bunch, the director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. What I really am is a guy from New Jersey trying to make it in the big city. That's really it. When I was a kid, probably before I turned 5, I had a grandfather that used to read to me all the time. And unlike my kids who could read at 5, I couldn't. And one day we were looking at a history book and it had a picture of school children. And I don't remember if they were black, white, just school children. And he read the caption and it said, "Unidentified school children." And I remember just looking at their faces. And then I remember him saying, and this picture was taken so long ago, that these kids are probably all dead by now. And I remember thinking, how could kids that look like me, my age, be dead? And then he said, isn't it a shame that people could live their lives, die, and all it says is unidentified? And that notion of trying to find the story behind the faces, trying to identify who these people were, trying to make sure that they weren't just these anonymous figures, is what made me be a historian. And so I think that what photography does, for me as a historian, especially a historian of Black America, photography provides me a way into the African American experience that isn't documented in any other way. That for many of the people I write about, their stories didn't make the history books. Their stories didn't make a lot of the archives. So that I found myself shaped by the kind of family photos that I would find in people's homes, in their basements, in their attics, and they helped me do something that was really difficult and unusual when I began as a historian. What I love so much, whether it's the photography of Addison Scurlock or James Van Der Zee, or even sort of some of just the snapshots you see taken in the early 20th century, what I love about it is that there's a conscious decision to say, yes, you can capture the worst of who we are, and the kind of social documentary photography that became really the rage in the 30s. You can capture the worst of who we are, but we want to recognize that even in our worst circumstances, we interpret ourselves differently than you might. And so photography becomes a way that I can help people recognize that their history is valuable. I can help them see that the story of their grandmother is important to the broader narrative of American culture. So for me, photography solves so many problems. It is a great piece of evidence. It is a wonderful way to make people comfortable. It is an important entree point into complex history. And it is really something that, to this day, makes me want to know more about the people who are captured in that image.